Hey everybody, we are back and I'm just smiling, right? Because I'm just excited. We have our featured guest here right now, CL Smooth, Reminisce over that. I have to say it together. I don't know why, because that's like my favorite track. But I would like to introduce CL Smooth to the show, and thank you so much for joining me because you represent to me like a very important piece of my hip hop, of my music. Me growing up, and you know, I remember the first hip hop song. I want to be telling my age or nothing like that, but I remember like the whole explosion and seeing like the different generations, how different artists. It was like playing basketball. Like an artist would grab it, and you'll see what they do with it. You see what the next artist do with it, right? And it's all this different creativity was coming out, right? It was mainly like R&B, soul music. Then we had the instruments, and if you were a real lover of music, you got to watch all those different transitions, you know?
Right.
Being a youth, you grow up, what you do? First thing you hear your parents, right?
Right.
Playing the oldies, the smoother. You grow up, you're like, wow, that's your first introduction. And then when you get older, you start making your choices to what you prefer, what you like. But you were definitely in my catalog, you know? And it's like, okay, the time went by, and I'm like, you have those favorites. You're like, okay, where they at? What's going on? What's happening? And then you end up connected with Grind King. Shout out to Grind King.
Grind King.
And you out and you're doing all these shows. And I'm like, wow, I need to sit down and talk with you. So it's definitely a pleasure. But I want to go back to the beginning. Like, how did you get started with music? Like, how did the doors open up? When did you realize you had that creative gift and you wanted to start doing, you know, being an MC? Was it MC you called yourself at that time?
I think it's such as itself. It was just about the loving of music.
Right.
Being a music lover.
Right.
And going along with my creativity of music and wanting to be creative.
Right.
I started out drawing.
You did?
Listening to music and drawing and creating and thinking. Because I was always on punishment all the time. So it was
Nice
all
way
about
to let the time go by,
it was all
right?
about, you know, taking the TV and the radio away and having that creative mind to fill those gaps of entertaining yourself. So I think the music just enhanced it.
Right.
The music just put it in its place, in its proper perspective of limitless boundaries of creativity.
Right, because when hip hop first started, people thought it was going to be like a fad. It wasn't going to last too long, right? The industry itself didn't really understand the direction or how long it was going to be. So, like, that's why a lot of the artists that first began, like Melly Mel and all those guys, they didn't know how to do contracts. They didn't even think they needed contracts. It was so much like, we just want to grab the mic and rock the crowd, right? That's what it was about. And then it became into that stage where it was a real business.
It was.
Right?
Yes, it is.
So who did you like coming up? Like, who were some of the people you was on punishment that you probably was like thinking about, you know, who inspired you?
I think the beauty of it was being inspired by the people that I would future work with.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like Run DMC and LL Cool J and Public Enemy and all these different artists that would be on my wall, and then all of a sudden being in the music business allowing me to be creative enough to create with them.
Isn't that something?
It was like a dream come true. And I never thought it was like working. When you do something you love, it's not working.
Exactly.
You're just doing something you love to do.
Did you expect to go like all over the world with it? Like, you know.
I wanted to go all over the world, but I didn't expect to.
You didn't expect to, right?
I didn't have the high expectations till I started hanging with Heavy D and the Boys.
Right.
And Al B. Shore and Jeff Red and
was it Mount Vernon?
Yes.
Yes, the Mount Vernon. Everybody from up there.
Right.
I didn't realize how many artists from Mount Vernon, because I know Jeff Red and Mary J. And it's like so many DMX. There's so many. It was a lot of good artists that actually came, and that's such a small little space when you think about it, right?
To have that much creativity and that much talent. Yeah.
Exactly. That came out. So was you on the music scene performing a lot with like maybe seeing Jeff Red, seeing all these different people that kind of influenced you at the same time where you were coming up in music?
Well, I kind of watched them perform first.
Okay.
And got the bug and really studied them and asked questions and just build up what I wanted to do.
Right.
But it was a creative process that had to go on. You had to learn what studio time was like. Had to learn how to be on time, what
Right.
budgets are, what you pay your lawyer, what you pay yourself, what you
Right.
put aside for your taxes.
Right.
All these you had to learn at 20 years old. So
And that's a lot.
yeah,
That's a lot to learn.
That's a
And
lot.
my thing, and how did you take in the fame at that time, being young, going all over? People like CL, you know, falling in love with the music, liking what you were doing. Like, how did that make you feel, like, inside? Like, some people get scared with the fame. Some people love it and embrace it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so many different feelings you can go through. From one day you going to school, it's like, you know, only your neighborhood people know you. Then the next thing you on stage and you got all these people screaming and rhyming with you
Right.
to what you're saying, you know?
I struggle with it
You
a
did?
bit. You know, being young, and you always want to be treated like a regular person.
Right.
You know, you felt that you haven't changed, but things in your life
Have changed
changed
around you.
So when things in your life change, you're not old enough or mature enough to see that people are changing around you as
Right,
well.
right,
So
right.
I had to learn that, and I was so, my desires were so minimal.
Okay.
Where I'm just doing something I love. I'm just a man. If
Right.
I'm doing something regular, like going into a store that I've always went to my whole life, and then I go in there and everything's for free, or
Right.
everything has 1,000 questions to it,
Right.
it just makes me uncomfortable. I want to be treated like I've always been treated.
Right,
This is the
right.
block that I grew up on, in the town that I've created from, and I want to be treated like Corey.
Nice. So it didn't change you. And
No.
that's a good thing.
No, but after a while, it does change you because your life has to evolve.
Right.
You have to mature.
Right.
There's a tug and war between good and bad and right and wrong. Being creative and being stifled.
Right, right.
Growing with the group and growing apart. So all
We
these
see
variables,
all those changes.
all these variables you're learning at a very young age, and you're learning on the job.
On the job training. You're
Right.
right about that. So how hard or easy was it for you when it came to the writing process? Like, how was that for you?
I think it was easy for me because I always used to take time out to go away
Oh,
and process my thinking.
right.
So whatever was going on in the street or my personal life, I just would take a couple of months away and nobody would see me, and I would just go and write. And whatever I was lacking, I would just make phone calls and feed me some music and go back to hibernating. And when I'm finished and my focus is done, then I can go back to my regular life.
Nice. So break down some of your music for me, like Reminisce. Give us the full, your meaning, your interpretation of that song.
Well, my interpretation was it was about my family life and growing up and giving birth into this family that I was connected to.
Right.
And the people, what they did for me and how it moved me to be who I am today.
Nice.
So it means a little more to me to have grandparents.
Right.
It means a little more to me to have parents that are together, that get along.
Right, that love each
have a
other,
plan.
show that
Yeah.
love, right.
So I was proud of that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was part of my growth period to get to where I am. I think the streets is part of it, but it wasn't the whole spectrum.
Right.
I needed love.
Right.
And once that love was cultivated, then I was able to grow and flourish.
I think we got that.
Yeah.
I think that's why, to me, like, that's like it's like a feel good.
Yeah.
It's a feel good song. It's not, talking about pain. It's something that we all should, that's like what we should have as a family. We should feel that way. We should reminisce. It's almost like you're kind of smiling in there. Like, you're the pride that you had came across. You know what I mean?
It's that family gathering.
Right,
It's that family cohesiveness that you may see them only on holidays or only at funerals, but yet these are your people.
Right.
So I had to find out a way at a very young age to pay homage to them.
And you
I
did.
couldn't literally just give them my money, but I wanted to pay homage to them.
That was
and this
definitely
was a way
so.
to do it.
Definitely so. So what do you think, looking back over your career up until this point, what was like a real pivotal moment for you? And like, let us know, what is something that really stands out that kind of like changed you probably along your journey? Is there anything that happened for you personally?
I think being successful at the same time being a brand new father.
Right.
I think that was the pivotal turning point for me.
Did it change like your message and your music? Did it?
It did. It
Okay.
made me love myself more and recognize who I'm hurting and how I'm hurting myself.
Right.
So it gave me a broadened sense of reality, and that it's not just me anymore.
Right.
It's about my family and my values and my high morals, and cultivating it and nurturing it and make me the best man that I can be so that I can raise a man.
Love that. I love that because, I mean, we see so much in social media. We see families together, family torn apart.
Yeah.
The headlines, and just to hear somebody actually conscious and making a real effort to move right,
Right.
It's like, I don't know what's going on. It's not like we highlight that as much anymore, and we should, right?
Yeah,
we should have a lot more shows that are showing this so our youth can see that, how families are the positive of what we have in our community and things like that. I also read something about you being very much a part of something with climate change.
Yes.
And so talk a little bit about, you still have the same
Oh
feelings for
yeah.
that?
Oh,
So tell us a
definitely.
little bit about that.
Well, I think it's all about the air we breathe. And one thing about it, we definitely take for granted our air,
Right.
our ecosystem.
Right.
The way things are happening now in the world, where when it's warm climate, it's snowing, it's cold. That's all about the ecosystem turning. And what man has done is he's polluted too much.
Right.
And in the light of all these industries building
Right.
and
Or
creating,
industrial,
the
all this-
industrial industries
Right.
have ruined the water.
Right.
They're making mistakes with the gas companies and polluting our water.
Right.
So we don't have anything that is pure anymore. So if we don't get back to being green and developing our green way of thinking, then
In
we'll
trouble.
that's why we developing all these ailments
Right.
and breathing problems.
Right.
Because our ecosystem and our air is polluted.
Yes.
So if we don't have a healthy consciousness of this, then it's not going to change. But like myself and a lot of others, it's important that we bring it to the forefront.
Right.
And that it is a process that has to be driven to the people.
I totally agree. So I know we have some new music. I just wanted to bring that up because that's very important.
Yes.
And I did read that you was very
Absolutely.
into that, so I definitely wanted to mention that as well. But let's talk about this new music,
Yes.
this new team, and everything that's going on with CL
Absolutely.
today. What's happening?
I think it's a blessing to just have the longevity.
Right.
Because in music, safely you have maybe a 4 or 5 year gap of success, and then the rest is just what it is, or
Right.
what you can but I've been blessed to be in this business for 20 plus years.
Wow.
And still be able to go
That is
around the
major.
world,
Right.
and still be able to sell out shows.
Yes.
And give people a great show, most of all. So I take pride in that. A new team was necessary because it's a new day and age.
Right.
And we're dealing
Things are
with
different.
multimedia.
Right.
And back when I was dealing with the music business and coming up, all we had is that pager.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Very different.
it's right now you have so many outlets where you can get your music there. So a good, stable team that believes in your project, that
Right.
believes in what you're doing, and believes in your legacy and what you have put out there, and wants to continue to build it. This is the process that I want to go through and be happy.
Right. And how different is it today how you can be independent and successful, right?
Right.
Versus before, you needed a label. You needed someone to push you,
Right.
finance you. Now, good product, you can sell yourself.
Right.
Right? With all the social media and everything that's going on. So do you have a new release out now, right?
Yes,
I heard
I do.
so tell us about that.
Well, this is, I'm just trying different things. My creative sense is when you come from a legendary group, they always want you to repeat what you're doing or
Right.
you already done.
Right.
My thing is
But you're
about
a different person. You're
Yeah.
in a different place now.
But
you
I
know
think
what I mean?
I think that's about people, just not wanting to accept change.
Right.
And I think change is necessary in some
Necessary.
cases.
Right.
So with that change, it's developing different type of creativity and being challenged
Yes.
in creating your music.
Right.
Because it's not, I just don't want to go in there and just do
Reproduce
what
something that you
people were
did.
accustomed to me doing.
Right.
And people expect me to do
Right.
and not be challenged. I think the whole thing about music is being challenged.
Right.
especially on the creative side.
I agree.
So
you're not even the same person who wrote
no,
that
not at
stuff
all.
before. You're a totally different person.
Not at
So
all.
you're definitely going to come out and speak from a different perspective at this point.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I just heard new music from Method Man. I just heard new Tribe Called Quest music, and it's refreshing.
Right.
It's so good to hear right now.
Right.
And if you think about it, the artists that came out around the time that you came out, think about that generation. Everybody from that era is still getting booked, still
Right.
getting paid, right?
Exactly.
And it's incredible. So it's definitely something that came from that era of music that is standing the test of time, right?
Absolutely.
25 years later, still on stages performing, doing stuff like you just dropped music yesterday. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's where the originality comes in.
Right.
And we always talked about that coming up.
Right.
Nobody wanted to sound like anybody.
Right.
Everybody wanted to have their individuality, their own lane, their own sound, their own voice. So
all these things that's missing today.
Right.
Right. But I want to pinpoint that,
Right.
highlight that. A lot
Right.
of that is missing today. Even though I still enjoy the music and I enjoy that new artists coming out can only rap about what they know about, right?
True.
So if this is what the industry is pushing, I have to understand the direction that it's going in. But I also know the foundation of it, so that's the difference. But again, I'm just so happy to see you out performing.
Yes.
Wish you a lot of success on the new project. Can we
Thank
get
you.
the name and title and let us know where we can find
the
it?
name of my new project is going to be called Dark Daylight.
Okay.
And the reason why I call it that, because they're all dark days in people's lives that are never spoken about. When you get on the Instagram and you get on social media, it seems like everybody's happy, everybody's rich, nobody has bills.
Right.
I think
You
the
close
dark
that phone,
side,
right?
yeah,
It's a whole
I
other
think
world.
the dark side holds another question to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And what I want to bring out is that dark side, that side that people are catching hell. People are poor.
Yeah.
And I want to speak on that because
Right.
everybody speaks on how rich they are. I want to speak on how poor I am.
The reality
The
of,
realities
yes,
of things
yes.
of being poor and having that edge of wanting to have more. So when you take that edge of wanting to not be poor and have more, it gives you a different perspective
Definitely.
on life
Right.
and the people who you surround yourself with
Nice.
and the family that you come from and the family that you hope to raise.
Right.
And all these come into the question when you're being creative and you're giving something to the world.
Yes. True. Look, I'm like, you know, so where can we find the music?
Well, you're going to find it on all social media.
Okay.
So I want everybody to be looking out for it. I'm going to find it a home. I have a couple of homes to bring it to.
Good.
But right now I'm in the mixer and mastering
Nice.
space of it. So
Okay.
I'm just enjoying the ride.
And where can they follow you on social media?
They can follow me on the Instagram at The Real CO Smooth.
Okay.
And I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me everywhere.
Follow him,
It's a
follow
known
him, follow
face.
him. Right. Yes, yes, indeed. And thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And that's what it is, y'all. CL Smooth. Make sure you follow and support. We'll be back with more.
That was dope.